Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to continue with the lesson chapter 2. So, economic impact of industrialization we are going through. The economic impact we are going to start today. Urbanization is one of the impact. The industrial revolution led to the growth of towns and cities where factories were also set up. People from villages began to migrate to these industrial towns. Similarly, there were factory system. The industrial revolution led to the destruction of domestic system of production. Workers went to work in factories and machines made of goods which were manufactured on large scale. The work was divided between people according to their ability. Whatever ability they have, quality they have, on that basis the work was divided. Now, division of labor. One of the characteristic features of industrial revolution was the division of labor. Each person or a group of people performed a specialized task. There was capitalism, economic disparity. The Industrial Revolution led to the concentration of wealth in the hands of capitalists. A few rich people who owned the means of production, that is the capital. The vast majority of workers were employed by the capitalists in their factories and worked under them for wages. The workers were exploited by the capitalists and lived in poverty and misery. There was a wide gulf between the rich capitalists and the poor workers. The capitalists were thus the haves, while the workers were the have nots. So, economic inequality led to the social inequality, which eventually led to socialism. So, you can underline socialism. This is how socialism was born. The inequality between the groups. So, advent of machines led to a lot of people losing their jobs as fewer people were required to produce the same goods. Unemployment gave rise to a general anger against machines. Expansion of trade and commerce now. Large scale production of goods led to the expansion of trade and commerce. Surplus goods were sold to other countries, increasing profits made industrialized nations rich and prosperous. Trade also expanded because steamships were invented and they were being used. As production increased further, these nations began to look for new markets for sale of the goods. So, this in turn led to the competition among the European nations to acquire colonies in distant lands. These colonies used not only ready markets for manufactured goods but also as constant supplies for raw materials. Similarly, socialism was one of the impacts. Socialism was a reaction to the evils of capitalism. Socialism is a system under which there is no private ownership of the capital. People in a socialist setup would not only divide in the rich and poor class. The means of production is owned by society. All the people own the production as a whole. And everybody would work and share the equal profits, that is the fruits of the labor. Thus, exploitation would be wiped out and the classes of the society based on economic social equality would be established. So now, social effects, that means social impact was there, social inequality was going on, harsh living condition of workers were there. What is this harsh living condition? Industrial revolution led to the migration of people to villages and industrial towns in search of jobs. Cities grew rapidly without any proper planning. As the population grew, the cities became overcrowded and people were forced to live in crowds. So that is why what happened, due to which there was sanitation problem, hygiene problem, people started to get diseases, large number of slums were made, black smoke filled the air, and in the absence of basic amenities, the health problems started to the workers. Disease epidemics took a heavy toll of lives. According to a report, a slum in Manchester, all the inhabitants had died due to cholera epidemic in the early 1830s. All inhabitants. The exploitation of workers also started. Capitalists amassed enormous wealth at the expense of the workers, the majority of whom were totally dependent on their employers. I'm repeating, the capitalists amassed enormous wealth. They were having huge wealth at the expense of the workers. They were giving low wages to the workers for their work. the majority of the whom was totally dependent on their employers only. The majority, the workers were totally dependent on the capitalists, what amount they were giving. Workers had no job security and they could be dismissed anytime. They worked on very low wages and under extreme harsh pressure. The capitalists exploited the workers by forcing them to work for almost 16 hours a day. They were not only allowed to go on a strike, and they were totally not allowed to go on a strike. They had no say, they had no demand, they cannot even put any words out of their mouth for any type of decision to be taken by them. So women and children were also employed in large numbers in the factories, and they worked from dawn to dusk on extremely low wages. No compensation was paid to the workers or death due to any type of accident in mines and factories. What a pathetic condition they were going through. The extremely stressful working and living condition led to a decline of the moral values among the workers. Life became a struggle, survival and community bonds broke down amongst the people. People just did not know how to behave, how to live in a society now. They were just working, nothing else. There were political impacts, rise of capitalist. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, landowners enjoyed great wealth, privileges, political influence. The Industrial Revolution led to the emergence of wealthy and powerful capitalist class as a dominant force in British Parliament. Government policies were influenced by the interest of the capitalist class only. So now trade union activities started. In this, the ruthless exploitation of the workers by the capital led to the protest. They united and organized themselves into trade union to fight for their rights and better working conditions. The trade unions faced strong resistance from the employers. In many countries, the clash between the trade unions and the capitalists led to bloodshed. The struggle of the trade union was long and arduous. The vast majority of workers did not have the right to vote. The workers did not have any right to vote. I told you they had no demand. They cannot demand nothing. Whatever command they are getting, they have to follow that. Bus, nothing else apart from that. So the determination efforts of the trade unions eventually bore fruit. The government passed several factory laws to improve the conditions of the workers and grant them certain rights. Soon there was rise of imperialism. Imperialism is a policy of extending a country's power and influence to other countries through the use of military force, colonization, or other means. It generally refers to the policy of takeover and domination of the political, economic, and cultural life of a weak overseas nation by a powerful nation. They were just capturing the weak nation by the powerful nations. Imperialism implies colonialism, expansioning the land, which is the method of practice by which powerful countries acquires control over the another country, any weak country overseas, through overseas war they are doing and they are capturing it. In 18th and 19th century, the power, position and prestige of imperial European nations depended on the extent and value of their overseas possessions. The Industrial Revolution sparked off a mad scramble for colonies in Asia and Africa. So the industrial development dependent on raw materials and ready market goods. Colonies could be exploited to serve as constant study for the sources of raw material. The constant source of raw material, the colonies which were acquired, exclusive captive markets for the finished goods. Whatever finished goods were, they can use it for the selling in that market. These colonies could be used as field for investment of surplus British capital also. By the end of 19th century, the imperialist nations of Europe had colonized. The investment of surplus, that means extra British capitals, was whatever being produced, it can be invested there. The extra wealth, the capitals, any factories can be established on these colonial lands. So that is why extra investment. So by the end of the 19th century, the imperialist nations of Europe had colonized almost the whole of Asia and Africa. The scramble for colonies led to intense rivalry, fierce competition, numerous wars among the imperial powers. These conflicts eventually precipitated international tensions and crises that became one of the major causes for the outbreak of the First World War. In the 19th century, the British had started an aggressive policy of conquering territories in India. This need to acquire and expand territorial possession in India, which was fueled by the desperate need to sustain rapid industrial growth in Britain. By the middle of 19th century, the British had acquired almost the whole of India, and India became the jewel in the British crown. India's rich resources were used for production of capitals, extra goods in their factories, transformed into international economic giant. Thus, the Industrial Revolution set in motion the multiple forces of imperialism now in the model where there were various countries now getting interested for the colonial trading and colonial expansion. In the race of supremacy, Britain surged ahead and emerged as the clear winner and creator of the largest and the most powerful empire in the world, as the empire on which the sun never set. So, in India, the British Empire would unleash potent force of the change in political dynamics. They brought a lot of political administrative changes according to them, according to their wishes. So, economic equations and cultural, and I'm repeating, economic equations, the equations, the formula which was actually framed by the Britishers. Whatever economic policies which were profitable for them was the main economic equations of that British Empire. And cultural influences were there. So enslave a great nation with a glorious legacies and reduce it to just a colonial economy. So the whatever production was only for the colonialism, nothing else. Supporting colonialism, expanding colonialism, growth of colonialism in India. So this trade and commerce and imperialist policies helped in the colonization of different nations in overseas land, different land outside nations. So for almost 200 years, India was under this colonialism rule. Okay, so here we are ending this lesson today. So read the lesson. Today I will give you in the worksheet section, judiciary chapters, long questions I am giving you. And in your study material section from this chapter, exercises part, some parts I am giving you to read, to revise it. Okay, already I have revised, question answer already done. But then also again you revise it. Okay, it will be helpful for you. Thank you.